Hello, once again, good day everyone. Since we are through with our unit of competency 1 for dressmaking in C2, which is draft and cut pattern for casual apparel. This time, we're going to demonstrate the unit of competency 2, which is the prepare and cut materials for casual apparel. The tools and equipment and the materials needed for demonstrating the unit of competency 2 are the following: scissors, the ruler, pins, and of course the fabric. Okay, for the pencil, you can also use in lieu of pencil, you can use tailor's chalk and other marking materials, but for our demonstration today we will be using pencil. So let us start. Okay, first we'll have to prepare the fabric for our cutting. We'll have to fold the fabric into 1/4 lengthwise. This is already 1/2, so we still have to fold it once again to fold it 1/4 lengthwise. Okay, so this one. Then place the pattern into the fabric in order to cut the fabric according to the size and length of each pattern. Don't forget to give an allowance here for sewing allowance later on, maybe approximately 1 inch, and another allowance here for maybe 1/4 or 1/2. Then cut the fabric, and this will be the allocated fabric for our blouse. Okay, this one. Or you can also pin the pattern so that it will not be moving during the cutting of the fabric. But in my case, I did not pin it because I can control the fabric and the pattern. But in your case, you can pin it here, even one pin, in order for the pattern to stay where it is, in order for it not to be moving during the cutting of the fabric. Now let's start with the tracing of our pattern here in our fabric. We'll have to fold it approximately 3 inches. This is for our front part. We will start with the cutting of the front part. Approximately we will fold the fabric 3 inches. We'll have to make it sure also that the folded pattern, folded fabric, this one will be facing against us, and we will be folding it 3 inches. Stop. Then after folding the fabric, we'll have to place the pattern on top of the fabric with an allowance of 1 inch, approximately 1 inch. This is a provision for the overlapping of buttonholes and the buttons. This 1 inch here, this is intended for the buttons and for the buttonholes. And we'll have to pin the pattern and fabric in here. This one, just like this one, at least 2 pins will do. We'll have to make it sure that the pin will be placed here. Do not place it here because you can find it hard in tracing the dart when you place a pin here. So we should have to place it here. Okay, we'll proceed to the tracing. Our front part will be passing through this line. This one, this one, this one, a line in here. Then we also have to trace this one, and we'll have to cut the fabric here without allowance because this is already the allowance for folding. And we'll have to trace also the dart. Let's start. Then this one in here, following the edge of the pattern, and this one the side of the blouse, then the hip line. We have to cut it here, trace it here, then trace also here for cutting. Then the last one for the blouse to be traced is the dart sign, this one. Okay, and also this one. Okay, we're done tracing. Unpin the pattern, then pin it again without the pattern to the fabric itself or to the fabric alone, then unpin this one, then pin it again to the fabric. Okay, so it's time for cutting of fabric. When we cut the fabric, we'll have to allocate an allowance here for 1/2, approximately 1/2. Okay, we'll have to make it sure that we can provide an allowance of 1/2 here. This one. Allowance 1/2. As you can see, remember that we'll have to ensure the allowance of 1/2 in here. So you can see there is a little shortage of an allowance. That's why I adjusted the shoulder line. But do not do it in your case. Then another, this is I think one half, and 1/2 in here. So here we'll have to allocate an allowance of 1 inch just in case there is a need to adjust later on when we check our bust, waist, and hip. Okay, then set aside this one for the back part, and we'll have to cut it in here and the allowance for folding, following the line without allowance. Okay, then we'll have to trace it at the back because there are 2 parts of front part. We have to trace it at the back. So tracing the back lines, but this is front part. Okay, you'll just have to follow what I did. This one. Okay. Place the ruler here. Using pencil, do this. This one. And this one also. Together with the neckline, because this is the neckline of the front part. This is the neckline, this is the shoulder line, this is the armhole line, and this is the line for the bust, waist, and hip. This is on the side part. This is the lower part, the length of the blouse. Then trace also the dart at the back. Just follow what I did in the demonstration so that you can find it easier in tracing this one. Okay. In tracing also this one, you'll have to hold the ruler firmly so that it will not move during the tracing, because if ruler will move during the tracing, it can deform the size and the form of the desired output. Okay, you'll have to make some notes here, an indication that we are folding it in here. Just a little cut of our blouse. Now you can unpin this one. We're done with our 2 front parts. To identify that this is the back, the wrong face, we'll have to mark it X and mark it X here, meaning this is the wrong face and this is the another wrong face, and at the back of this are the right faces. Right face, then wrong face, and another wrong face here. We should be marking the wrong face because we will be sewing at the wrong face side. Now let's proceed to the cutting of the back part. Actually, this is the other part of the fabric after cutting the front part, but we'll have to refold this one in order to come up with an efficient usage of our fabric. So we'll have to fold it according to the size of our pattern, so that we can still utilize the rest of the fabric for other parts, like for example for collar. But of course this will not suffice, the rest of our fabric will not suffice for our sleeves. We'll have to cut another fabric for our sleeves, but for the collar maybe we can utilize the other part of our fabric. Okay, we'll have to place our pattern again here without allowance in this side, not like with the front part that we set 1 inch, but we fold 3 inches. This time we will not be folding, but the folded area, remember, as you can see this one, the folded part of the fabric will be facing against the tailor. So this one, just like this one, there is no cut in here. We'll have to place the pattern as it is without allowance, because this will be the back part. Okay, then pin it again as where you pin it in the front part. So in the front part we pin it here, then we will also pin it in here. Okay, now we'll start tracing. In the front part we trace this one, but in the back part we will trace this one. This is the neckline of the back part. This is the neckline of the front part. This is the shoulder line. In the other cases of the blouse, the front part will be passing through in here, and the back part will be here. But since this is simplified, in order to come up with a simple way of cutting the fabric and pattern, we made it here. There is only one line for the shoulder line, both back part and front part. And also for the neckline, trace it here. Okay, then in the side area of the pattern, trace it without allowance. Then the full length here, trace it also here, and the same as with the front part, the dart. Okay, just like this one. We're through with the back part. Unpin the pattern, then pin again, unpin, and pin. We should have to pin this one in order to avoid moving the fabric, in order to, okay, pin it here, then also pin it another one here. Okay, we have to pin this one in order for the fabric not to be moving, in order to come up with the desired length and measurement, desired measurement according to the measurement of our clients. Then cut this one with an allowance of 1/2, then 1 inch in here, approximately 1 inch. You can just make some estimate. Anyway, we will be cutting this one later on, because the sewing line will be these lines here. Okay. After this one, we'll have to trace again another dart in the other side of our back part. Okay, this one and this one. Okay, we'll have to, okay, the dart is here, and we'll have to mark it X for the wrong face. We will be marking only one in the back part, because there is only one back part. Since it is not cut here, so there is only one piece for back part. So this is X, these are the darts of the back part. We're through with the bodies. Now we'll proceed to the cutting of our collar. We will utilize the rest of our fabric for our collar in order to practice an efficient way of cutting the fabric in order to maximize, for example, the generation of our profit when we have our business. In doing this one, in cutting the collar, we'll have to fold it, this one, lengthwise, then fold it again from left to right. Okay, first again fold it this way, then at the center or at the middle of the fabric, fold it like this from left to right. Okay, then place the pattern in here. You make it sure that you will be following this form of the pattern. The slanting side will be going down, and place it here without allowance, this one, and set no allowance for this one also, this one. Just take a look at this, just take a look at the form of the pattern. You should be following this form. Okay, and after that you'll have to pin this one. Then after this, trace this one. We'll have to trace this one, and this one. Then cut it here with maybe 1 inch or even more. You can have 2 inches to make it sure, but I'm just having an allowance of 1 inch here, and ½ inch in here. Make a knot here, some knots here. This one, do not make some knots in here because it can ruin your fabric, your collar. It can damage your collar. Okay, just in here. Okay, then we'll have to trace it here, your collar, and together with this one also. You'll have to trace here at the center, at the middle of your collar. Okay, so we'll have to look into the output of your collar. Okay, this is now the form of your collar, but this is subject for checking also later on in order to come up with a desired measurement for collar according to the client's measurement. Okay, now we'll proceed to the sleeves, cutting of sleeves. Okay, for the sleeves, we'll have to allocate a budget fabric for sleeves. This one. Okay, the same process with the cutting of fabric for blouse, for bodies of the blouse. We'll have to fold 1/4 lengthwise of the for the sleeves. Remember that the edge must be in here. Then to allocate a budget for sleeves fabric, we'll just have to set a little allowance in here, and also in here we'll have to cut it here. We'll have to allocate 1/2 allowance or 1 inch, because the sewing allowance later on will be 1/2. So to ensure not to have a shortage fabric for sleeves, we'll have to allocate 1 inch allowance. Then refold the fabric according to the size of the sleeves. It can be either this way or in this form or in this form, but I will be using this form. Okay, without allowance in here, also without allowance in here, but there must be an allowance in here for ½ inch and 1 inch, ½ inch, 1 inch. You can do also half inch allowance, half inch, but I am using 1 inch. It depends on the will of the tailor. Okay, we'll have to trace this one, the S form of the sleeves, together with the arm muscle. We're through. Then we'll have to cut it with a little allowance for sewing, 1/2 or 1/4, depending on you. This one here will be 1/2 or 1 inch, never 1/4. Then cut it here without allowance. Then after this, you have to trace here at the middle of the fabric, not in the back. Here, in the middle and in the back. This one, and this one, and also this one. But if you will be using fabric with a different color of the wrong face and the right face, make it sure that you will be tracing your pattern into the fabric in the wrong side area or in the wrong face area of the fabric. This one, since these are all white in color, so we are tracing it anywhere. Remember that you'll have to trace it in the wrong face of the fabric, and in this case we'll have to mark the wrong face here. This is the wrong face, and this one is also the wrong face, and wrong face. Okay, we're through. I'm sorry. Remember to also put some knots in this area in the center. Okay, we're through with the bodies and the other parts of the blouse. The rest of this one of your fabric, you'll have to cut 1 1/2. This will be used for covering the collar later on. 1 1/2, 1 1/2. This is the last part of the fabric to be cut. 1 1/2. Then neckline. The width is 1 1/2 and the length is neckline. So if the neckline is 18, you'll just have to put some or a little allowance of your neckline. If the neckline is 18, we'll have to cut at least 21 plus 3, 12 plus 6, this is 18, then plus 3, this is 21 inches. So you'll have to cut neckline plus 3 inches with a width of 1 1/2. You can cut this one. This will be used to cover your, when you sew the collar later on. Okay, this will be the last part for front part. Thank you very much, and we're done with the blouse. Now we'll proceed to the cutting of fabric for the pants. The same procedure. Fold the fabric into 1/4 lengthwise, then place the pattern on the top of the fabric we'll have to cut a fabric first, which will suffice for the measurement of our client according to the drafted pattern. So we'll have to set maybe 1 inch and 1 inch allowance here. We'll have to follow the shorter fabric. Do not follow this one. This we'll have to follow this one, the shorter fabric, the shorter edge of the fabric. 1 inch allowance, and in here at the edge we'll have to allocate maybe 1/4 or 1/2 allowance for this one. And in getting a fabric to be allocated, when you are to budget a fabric to be allocated for your pants, you'll have to follow the highest length of the pattern. This one, do not follow this one because this is for the front part. We'll have to follow the back part length. Okay, we're through. Then we'll proceed to the tracing. Unfold the fabric. So it is now folded 1/2 from the 1/4. So from 1/4 we have to unfold the fabric. Then this is now the fabric that we have. Okay, then we'll have to trace the front part. Remember that the front part will be all inside lines, this one and this one, except for the crotch, because we will be tracing the outside line for the crotch. The rest will be inside lines, this one, and this one. So before we trace, we'll have to make it sure that this line here in the hip line will be at the edge of our fabric. Do not be afraid that the pattern will overlap because this will be for the back part. We'll have to follow the line for the front part. This will be in the or at the edge of our fabric in order to use the fabric efficiently. Then pin this one in here, the center, and another pin, and this line here will be at the edge also. Pin also this one here. So pattern will not be moving anymore. We'll start tracing the pattern. Okay, we'll start with the, of course this is for front part. Waistline for front part. This is the waistline for front part, this one, and the zipper line, crotch for front part. Okay, don't forget the zipper line. This is very important. We will be needing this when we sew this one later on. Then from thigh to knee, this is the thigh, this is the knee, inside line. Then from knee to ankle, then the length is the ankle line, then the inside line also for the other side of the ankle to knee, this one, and from knee to hip. Okay, hip to waist, and of course the pocket. For the pocket, we'll have to follow the line, this one. Okay, then don't forget to trace also the knee line, just like this one, the knee line, this one, and this one together with the ankle line. This is the ankle line. We're through with this, and the edge of the for the allowance of our ankle line. We're done tracing all the necessary lines to be traced. Then we'll have to trace it again on the other side, because there will be two front parts. Unpin the pattern, fold it, set it aside for the moment, and pin again the fabric without pattern. Then connect the knee line. Overlap the zipper line. It's time for us to cut this one. Cut the front part without allowance. Again, cut the front part without allowance, because all of the allowances will be for the back part, in order to come up with a smaller front part and a bigger back part, because that is usually the pants. Without allowance in here, and this one, follow the line. This one, and this one here. Here, never cut this one, because this is for pocket. We'll have to cut the other line, this one here. Other students are cutting this one because they thought that this is the line for the front part. This is the line for the pocket. The line for the front part is the other line. Okay, then continue cutting this one, and in here, cut in here without allowance. Okay, then we also have to trace the pocket in the other side of the front part, the back side of the front part, and of course the zipper line. The zipper line will be at the middle, and together with the knee line will be at the middle. Sorry, you'll have to use ruler. Okay, and also in here, knee line is very important in order to come up with a good quality pants as our finished product. And also follow this line in the middle, in between of the two fabrics. We're done. Then we'll have to mark this one X, because this is our wrong face, and this one X as another wrong face. We're through, or we're done with the front part. Now we'll proceed to the back part. Okay, for the back part of the pants, we'll have to arrange this first, the fabric. Okay, so this is now the remaining fabric that we have. As you can see, there is a smaller width here compared to here, a bigger width and a smaller width. Okay, just take a look on the structure of the remaining fabric. Smaller one and a bigger width in here. We will also look into the pattern, which is smaller and bigger, in order to come up with an efficient way of cutting our fabric. So since this is the bigger width compared to the ankle, so we'll have to place it here in this side, because we can still use this one, the rest of this, for the zipper plies, 2 zipper plies, and for the waistband. So at least we can maximize the usage of our fabric. Okay, so we'll have to set an allowance here for 1/2, and without allowance here because this serves as allowance already. But of course we'll have to ensure that the fabric is even. Okay, we proceed to tracing. In tracing the back part, of course we'll have to peel it first, just like the front part, in order for the fabric not to be moving, because it can adjust or it can change the desired output if the fabric will not be traced well. Okay, for the back part, we'll have to trace all outside lines except for this one. Back part is here, this one, and this one together with this outside line here, this one, and this lower line here up to here until here. Okay, so we will trace it now. We'll start with the waist line. So this is the waist line, and this is also the back area of the pants. This is how we cut the back area of the pants. This is how we trace, following this line, the lower line here, and of course this line, outside line, from the thigh. This is the thigh down to the knee, then from knee down to the ankle, and of course trace the ankle line, then also the edge on the ankle line, going up to the knee, to the hip. This is the hip line, and until the waistline. This is for the back part. Another one to be traced in the back part is the axe. Okay, just trace the two lines. Do not trace anymore the center line. Or you can also trace that one, but it doesn't matter. You can trace all two lines. And of course, the knee line. Right through there, we have to unpin this one, unpin the pattern, but of course, pin again the fabric. Then also here, pin the fabric and pin the pattern. Set aside the pattern to pave way for our cutting of fabric. But we have to connect first the knee line. Okay, cutting this one, we'll have to have an allowance of 1/2 in here, from ankle to knee to thigh, but there must be no allowance here in the hip side. We only have allowance in the thigh to ankle side, but in the ankle to hip side there must be no allowance, and an allowance here at the back of our back part also. This one we'll have to set we'll have to ensure at least 2 inches. Anyway, we will be checking that later on. We will be cutting that also, the excess, later on. But for now, we'll have to set 2 inches allowance, just in case there will be a shortage of your waist and the hip. Later on, we will check the output, because sometimes our line will be transferred here, especially when there are errors in sewing in the allowances. So that's why we have to set 2 inches allowance here. So let's start. 1/2 in here. approximately 2 or 1 1/2. Maybe 1 1/2 is enough. Okay. This is the only line in the back part which has an allowance. Or these are the only lines which will have an allowance. The back line and the thigh to ankle line. 1/2, 1.5. And in here, you have to follow the line without allowance. Follow the line. This one. And you also follow here. There is no allowance anymore because the 1/2 allowance for this is already integrated in the pattern when we made our pattern. Okay. Set aside the rest of the fabric, and the same with the front part. The ankle line must be traced in the middle. The knee line must also be traced here in the middle, and the other one in here. Then of course the pockets will be traced at the back, not in the middle, but at the back of the fabric. Do not trace this anymore. Okay, we're done. We'll have to mark the X to indicate that this is the wrong side, and another X in here, an indication that it's wrong face. It's a wrong face. Now we'll proceed to the other parts to be cut for pants. Proceed to the cutting of the waistband. We will use the rest of our fabric. The waistband, we have to cut a width of 3 1/2 inches. We just have to follow this one. 3 1/2 without allowance. We just have to cut it straightly here. Before that, we have to measure 3 1/2 inches. 3 1/2 inches for the waistband, and connect the dots for 3 1/2. For the length of our waistband, we just have to follow the waist measurement plus 5 inches. Waist measurement plus 5 to 6 inches. If you can have 6, then much better. But if the fabric is your case, then you can adjust a minimum of 5. So if the waist is 28, just like in this case, 28. So 28 plus 6, that's 34. I just have to cut 34 inches. 34 is here with 3 1/2 inches with 3 1/2 inches. Okay, and I'll have to cut it now without allowance. This one, so this one, and the other line. Cut the 3 1/2. Then you're done. Okay, we already have our waistband. The next is the zipper ply. For the zipper ply, we just have to cut 4 inches, another 4 inches with a length of cross. So our cross is, for example, 9. We'll have to cut 9. If the crotch is 9, then cut 9 with a width of 4 inches. But there must be 2 zipper plies. So this is the other one. then cut another one, because there will be two zipper plies. Okay, thank you very much. Then the last one to be cut for the pants, the last part is for the pocket. The fabric that we will use for the pocket, we'll have to cut 7 inches width and 24 inches in length. The last part for the pants will be for the pocket. For the pocket, we'll have to cut a 7 inches width by 24. 7 inches by 24. So this is standard 7 inches. We'll have to cut 7 inches here in width, another 7 inches width, 7 inches width, then cut that one. Then the length must be 24. Two pieces for pocket. So this is already a 2-piece fabric, so we'll have to cut 24 inches with a width of 7 inches. This one, 24 is here, this is 24, so cut this one. So this is the last material to be needed for the pants. To review, we have here the 2 pieces fabric with a measurement of 7 by 24 and the 2 zipper ply. This is for pocket and this is for zipper ply 4 by crotch. So measurement of crotch by 4 inches, which is standard. Then another one for the waistband. Waistband, we have 3.5 inches for the width with a length of waist measurement plus 6 to 7 inches. And of course, the back parts of the pants and the front part of the pants. Thank you very much. We are now ready for sewing our casual apparel.